everybody? It's JT Sports back to you guys with another video. In this video, I'm here with my Miami Dolphins versus the Baltimore Ravens preview and prediction video. I'm going to be previewing this matchup and giving my prediction of who will win this game. Now, before I begin, make sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel. Upload NFL videos and college football videos daily. Now, Baltimore Ravens versus the Miami Dolphins. To be honest, this is a game that most people, unless you're a Baltimore Ravens fan or you're a Miami Dolphins fan, you're not going to watch. And here's why. So the Miami Dolphins are basically in tank mode. So they traded away their best players. They got rid of Laurent Tunsil. They got rid of Kenny Stills. They got rid of Kiko Alonso. So, I mean, this team is in absolute rebuild mode. The only good players they have listed is basically Rashard Jones and Xavier Howard. So that's pretty much it that they have. And then they drafted Christian Wilkins and things like that. So, I mean, this team is basically looking to tank this season. And the Baltimore Ravens, on the other hand, Baltimore Ravens have a whole new group of wide receivers. Well, young wide receivers, basically. Willie Snead is the only wide receiver in this group that has actually started a full 16-game season that's going to be starting for the Baltimore Ravens this year. So, I mean, he's the only returning wide receiver that they have that has some experience. So, you have a whole new different crop of wide receivers, a lot of inexperience there. And you have Lamar Jackson, who during this preseason has shown signs of improvement as a passer. So, in this game, what I'm going to be looking out for the Baltimore Ravens is their ability to run the football. Because although this Miami Dolphins team may look bad on paper, this team is very good when it comes to stopping the pass. I mean, you got Rashard Jones, you got Xavier Howard. I mean, this team is very, very solid when it comes to being able to stop the pass. But I think where this Miami Dolphins defense is going to struggle at is their ability to stop the run. And I think that's something that is going to favor the Baltimore Ravens, since you have a quarterback in Lamar Jackson who is a very good runner, very hard to bring down. And you have backs like Mark Ingram who are going to be able to get some plays as well. And you got Gus Edwards as well. And you're going to have the speedster who they drafted out of Oklahoma, Justice Hill. So they have a pretty solid 1-2-3 punch at that running back position. So in this game, I'm going to be looking forward to seeing what the Baltimore Ravens are going to be able to do, run the football. And I think the Baltimore Ravens are basically going to try to run the ball a lot on this Miami Dolphins team. And that's pretty much what they want to do the whole entire season. Now, they did say this offseason that they want to be a more balanced team. They want to be able to pass the ball as well. But I still think they still want to run the ball at least 60% of the time. And I think that's what they're going to be. Because, look, you're a running team. This team is built to run the football. And even if they do want to be a more balanced team, that's going to be kind of hard because you do have a young wide receiving core. And you do have Lamar Jackson, who is still developing as a passer. So I do think the Baltimore Ravens are going to be a little bit more improved when it comes to passing the football, because Lamar Jackson should develop way more than how he has over last season as a passer. So I think they are going to be a little bit better throwing the football. But at the end of the day, I still think the strength of this team is going to be running the football. And yes, this is the Miami Dolphins team. I think this is going to be a good game when they're going to be able to run the ball. And the Miami Dolphins. So the Miami Dolphins have announced that Ryan Fitzpatrick is going to be the starting quarterback. And with Ryan Fitzpatrick at the quarterback position, what you can expect is you can expect him to make a lot of big plays. So Fitzmagic. What Fitzmagic is when Ryan Fitzpatrick plays out of his freaking mind. He just starts going berserk. It seems like he can't make no errors. He starts making all these big plays and things like that. So that's what Ryan Fitzmagic is. It's basically Ryan Fitzmagic playing out of his mind and things like that. But eventually that starts to wear off, and then he starts playing like a regular average quarterback. So I think for this Baltimore Ravens team, I don't really think that the Miami Dolphins are really going to do anything prolific in this game on the offensive side of the ball. When we look at how good the Baltimore Ravens are on the defensive side of the ball, the Miami Dolphins might score a couple of points, but I don't think it's going to be nothing crazy, anything like that, like they're going to light up the scoreboard. Now, the Miami Dolphins on the offensive side of the ball, other than Ryan Fitzpatrick, they have receivers, Devontae Parker, you got him. This is a season that he's looking to prove himself, because he's basically leaning towards a bust status if you don't consider him a bust already. So you got Devontae Parker, who is probably the best receiver now. Then you got halfbacks Kalen Ballage, and you also got the other guy who they got after Alabama, Kenyon Drake. So you have Kalen Ballage and Kenyon Drake there at the halfback position. I really like Kenyon Drake. I think Kenyon Drake has a lot of talent and a lot of potential. And last season, he didn't really, a lot of people had a lot of high expectations for Kenyon Drake last year. He didn't really live up to them. And this season, I still think he's going to be the best player on this Miami Dolphins team, in my opinion. And I think if the Miami Dolphins are trying to win a couple of games, then I think you have to do it around Kenyon Drake, because Kenyon Drake has a very good skill set, and I think he's going to end up being the best player on this Miami Dolphins team. So now we're going to get into my keys to victory, what each of these teams needs to do in order to have a chance to win this game. And for the Baltimore Ravens, they need to limit the big pass plays. Like I talked about early, Ryan Fitzpatrick is, when he gets into his Fitz magic mode and things like that, he normally has a lot of big plays and a lot of explosive passing plays. So if you're the Baltimore Ravens, you kind of want to limit that. You kind of want to make sure that you keep everything in front of you. You don't want no wide receivers breaking loose for any big plays and things like that, because Ryan Fitzpatrick, he's really aggressive. He's a lot more aggressive than what people think, but he's smart as well. So he's not going to force a crazy amount of passes, but he is a guy who's going to take his shots down the field. So with Ryan Fitzpatrick, you got to look out for that if you're the Baltimore Ravens. You want to make sure that you don't allow any big plays in the passing game. Then you also want to get pressure on Ryan Fitzpatrick. Now, this Miami Dolphins offensive line, they may have the worst offensive line in the NFL. I don't even think that's too much of a debate there. They got rid of their best offensive lineman in Laramie Tunsil. So basically, they have a terrible offensive line. And if you're the Baltimore Ravens, you want to tee off with those pass rushers that you got. Patrick Young, Patrick Owasu. So, I mean, you want to get after Ryan Fitzpatrick. And this Miami Dolphins offensive line isn't really good. So the Baltimore Ravens have an opportunity to really rack up the stat sheets. And for guys who really care about their stats, have an opportunity to have a big day in this game and get a lot of sacks and get a lot of hits on the quarterback. Then the last thing that the Baltimore Ravens need to do, they need to run the ball. If you're the Baltimore Ravens, this Miami Dolphins secondary is pretty solid. So, I mean, I think the Baltimore Ravens are going to have a lot more success running the ball than what they would if they were to pass the ball, just because I think the Miami Dolphins aren't going to be good stopping the run, and I do think their secondary is pretty formidable. So I do think the Baltimore Ravens need to be able to run the ball, control time possession, and by doing that, hopefully you eliminate injuries, because let's face it, the Baltimore Ravens are going to win this game. All they just need to do is make sure they run the ball, chew out the clock, and make sure everybody stays healthy in this game, really. And that's all the Baltimore Ravens really do. Get the ball to Mark Ingram, get the ball to Gus Edwards, get the ball to Justice Hill. I really want to see what Justice Hill does in this game. This is a guy who is really, really fast. This dude's acceleration. This dude goes from 0 to 100 really, really quick. So I want to see him get a little bit of carries in this game as well. And Lamar Jackson, maybe you run him for a couple of times, but I don't really think you're going to need to run Lamar Jackson that much in this game. Basically, they just need to run the ball, take care of the ball, and make sure they get out this game healthy, and they should be able to win this game fairly easy. Then, if you're the Miami Dolphins, you want to keep Lamar Jackson in the pocket. I mean, if you're the Miami Dolphins, you don't want Lamar Jackson to beat you with his legs. You rather him beat you with his arm and show you how much he has improved as a passer. And this Miami Dolphins secondary is very, very formidable, very solid. So, I mean, Lamar Jackson, he's not going to have an absolute field day against the Miami Dolphins when it comes to passing the football. So, I do think the Miami Dolphins need to make sure they're able to keep him in the pocket and make him beat them defensively by throwing the ball inside the pocket, not allowing him to have any big plays in the running game. And the last thing they need to do, they need to be able to run the line of scrimmage. Now, this offensive line isn't really good, so you have to be able to move this Baltimore Ravens defensive line up front. The Baltimore Ravens have a pretty underrated defensive line. I think their defensive line is pretty solid, so you're going to have to be able to move those guys backwards if you want to give Ryan Fitzpatrick some time to throw and these running backs some open running lanes to run through if you're the Miami Dolphins. So they're going to have to win up on the line of scrimmage, and also on the other side of the ball as well. On their defensive line, they're going to have to win these matchups as well if you want to be able to keep the Baltimore Ravens from running the football all game long and keep them from controlling the time possession and things like that. So the team that I'm going with to win this game is the Baltimore Ravens. No surprise there. The Baltimore Ravens are a way better team than the Miami Dolphins. And if the Baltimore Ravens lose this game versus the Miami Dolphins, then I'm going to kind of raise my eyebrows about how good this Baltimore Ravens team really is going to be, because I don't really think there's a reason why they should end up losing this game. And to be honest, I think this game should go how how they went around last year when they played the Buffalo Bills and they blew out the Buffalo Bills really, really bad. So I really think this is kind of how that game should end up going. So my final score prediction for this game is the Baltimore Ravens 35 and the Miami Dolphins 17. So that's it for this video. Let me know who you guys think is going to win this game down in the comment section down below. Make sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel for more NFL videos and content. And thanks for watching.